Our second award is the Drown Citizenship and Character Award. This is for scholars at Morgan Park Academy are hardly rare. Students are regularly recognized locally and nationally for their outstanding academic achievements. Thanks to the leadership of generous alumni, faculty, staff, and friends, the Academy is able to reward a select number of these students who excel in the classroom, on stage, in the lab, and on the athletic fields. The Drown Family Award is one such prize. It provides support for a deserving graduating senior student and honors one graduate who embraces the Academy tradition of excellence that spans for more than 150 years. The award is to be used at the discretion of the new MPA alum awardee to enrich his or her college experience. The student must demonstrate good character and ethics, enthusiasm and involvement in student life, positive attitude, and strong academics. Okay, we're going to talk about the winner here, but please wait until we finish, then we'll have the winner come up, and then the Drowns can present that award to that individual. We're pleased to present the Drown Family Scholarship Award this year to Keone Green. Keone has consistently demonstrated high standards of character and integrity and has enriched the MPA community with her positive attitude, helpful nature, and strength. She demonstrates kindness and compassion towards everyone and has a solid and steady moral compass that guides her behavior. She has a deep and unwavering passion for doing the right thing even when no one is looking, and we're confident that she will go on and positively impact lives of others throughout her future. It is hard to imagine what life at MPA will be like and what it will look like without her positive presence and sensational smile. She has brightened our hallways, theater, dining hall, and Jones Bowl every day, without single fail for that. We're proud to present Keone Green with the Drown Family Character and Citizenship Award for the class of 2023. Congratulations, Keone.
Right.
Our next award, I'd ask Gloria Ortiz and Ori to come up here, please. This is the Mario Ortiz Make a Difference Scholarship. Beginning this year, a one-time $1,000 scholarship will be awarded to a promising graduating senior of Morgan Park Academy who demonstrates outstanding dedication to community service and leadership. The applicant must be pursuing post-secondary education. Mario Ortiz was the father of 5 children who attended Morgan Park Academy since 2000. His wife Gloria has been a teacher at MPA for over 20 years as well. Mario coached baseball and assisted with fundraising events on campus. His mission in life was to make a difference in his family and community as a coach, leader, mentor, father, and husband. Through his determination and hard work, Mario pursued and implemented any vision he had. His contagious smile and dedication and persistence to every organization he was part of impacted everyone he encountered. The aim of this scholarship is to honor the memory of the man whose mere presence brought a positive impact wherever he went. This first winner for the Mario Ortiz Make a Difference Scholarship is awarded to Justin Harris. Okay, we have the We'll Never Forget Award winner. Now we're going to talk about that individual now. This is a award selected by the faculty. And it's somebody that's a memorable individual that the faculty feels because of their unique contributions to the school, they'll never forget them. According to Mr. Regal, the man is the man behind the man behind the man. Ms. Etheridge says He is one of her favorites because he's always enthusiastic and humorous, and because she enjoys his unique viewpoint on life. He is consistently polite and generally matter-of-fact. And yet, that description makes him sound mundane and misses the target quite a bit. Mrs. Schmidt in third grade remembers he would not be caught unprepared for inclement weather. He was covered from head to toe like he was heading to the Yukon, bundled in his coat, snow pants, boots, glove, hat, and scarf. 9 years later, Mrs. McAllister says one thing that makes him unforgettable is his coat. She says he's almost always wearing a coat. She can be in a short sleeve shirt and he'll still be wearing a coat. She is sweaty looking at him, but he always maintains his cool. She has on more than one occasion asked him if he is hot in his coat, and he has never once replied that he is. There is a lot of warmth and kindness behind that coat. In middle school on the heifer trip, Mr. Ellis remembers when each group was given some basic items like 3 bowls for 8 people, and some groups had 13 bowls for 8 people. He was quick to figure out that he had enough if everybody would share. But alas, that did not last long. It was short-lived as he then tried to trade Mr. Ellis for 5 bowls of food. Mrs. Bergen says she might be the only one on campus who knows this, but he is a talented performer. As showcased in the very first summer camp theater camp show, 100 Years of Broadway, way back in 2011. He had a solo singing Once in Love with Amy from the musical Where's Charlie? A performance she'll literally never forget. Miss Etheridge remembers the investment club field trip just recently, where she said that while it is sure not many students chose to sit with a teacher for lunch, he was welcoming, joined her for lunch, and was really enjoyable to eat and talk with. He could be regularly found in my office, not because he was in trouble, heaven forbid he would be in trouble, but because he just wanted to sit down and talk about current events and say, we've not had a chance to chat lately. So he would sit in my office literally for 20 minutes at a time when I was trying to do some work, and then he finally, after 20 minutes of going back and forth, he would tell me, I can see you're busy, Mr. Browse, I'll come back. He did do a memorable job in my law, politics, and society class as well during our mock trials. His ability to cross-examine witnesses was second to none. He was a regular visitor in other classrooms as well, with the goal of just standing by to chat with teachers. Mrs. Tangle said our recipient would have conversations about many topics, and it seemed that he was eager to point out many sides of an issue. Or he would say he disagreed and proceed to thoroughly explain why he disagreed. That thoroughness is a trademark of his. He is one of those rare individuals who truly embraces his individualism. He is confident in expressing his views and does so in a way that truly makes others see another perspective, whether they agree or not. Mrs. Currett remembers that at the 8th grade dinner dance, there was a photo booth. She said to this individual, would you like to take a picture with your family? He thought she meant a picture with her. While she told him that it was a picture with him and his family, they got it straightened out, and there were 2 pictures, one with the recipient and his family, and the other with Mrs. Currett and the recipient. Perhaps that spark led him to ask each of his upper school teachers to take a picture with him this year. In our collective memory as faculty, he is the only student who's asked every upper school faculty member who's taught him to take a photo with him so he could remember us. We will not need photos to jog our memory. Clearly, we will not forget him. For all this and more, the We'll Never Forget award this year goes to Sean Sutton. Mr. Sutton is not here at this moment, so I know Mrs. Drown will accept on your behalf. Thank you, Ms. Drown. We have our young alum we're bringing back today. I'd like to welcome back Mike Jesuits from the class of 2006. Michael currently serves as the defense-wide team lead in the investment directorate of the Undersecretary of Defense. He is responsible for managing the formulation, justification, and execution of over $40 billion in procurement and research, development, test, and evaluation funding, for the defense agencies, including the U.S. Special Operations Command and the Office of the Secretary of Defense. He is responsible for managing a $1 billion fund to combat the impacts of inflation on service investment accounts. Prior to his current assignment, he served as a senior analyst in the Office of the Assistant of the Secretary of Defense for Special Operations and Low-Intensity Conflict, where he helped institute civilian oversight of U.S. Special Operations Command's resourcing. Before that, he was an analyst in the Operation Directorate of the Undersecretary of Defense, where he was responsible for a portfolio totaling over $150 billion. That was 10% of the federal discretionary funding that year. In that role, he also developed a process for the department to account for over $30 billion of savings, which is very good for the government to be in charge of savings. Thank you. Obtained through business reforms, managed the payroll budget for the department's 740,000 plus strong civilian workforce. He started his career as a Department of Army intern and held various financial management positions with the Army in the Pentagon and the U.S. Army in Europe and Wiesbaden, Germany. While in college, he served 2 summers in the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense, working on countering weapons of mass destruction issues. He holds his Bachelor of Arts degrees in Political Science from Davidson College, a Master of Public Administration and Graduate Certificate in Leadership in International Non-Governmental Organizations from the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs at Syracuse University, a Master's of Business Administration from the Whitman School of Management at Syracuse University as well. He is an individual from day one when he set foot in this school. He had a strong commitment to social sciences and social studies. I taught him in world history. He was one of those students that was very easy for him to connect with because he had a passion for social sciences and the arts and some other things. He'll talk about some other issues, things that he loved as well. But he was one of those students that I knew he was going to go on to do great things, and he has in his life. And I'm so glad we're able to have him back today to speak to the class of 2023. Mike Jesuits.
Thank you, Mr. Gerhazel, for that warm introduction. Ms. Shepard, thank you for the honor of being recognized with the Young Alumni Award on this 150th anniversary of MPA. I will be honest, when Mr. Gerhazel called and said I'd be receiving this honor, I was shocked that I was still considered young, much less award-worthy, but I am truly grateful for this recognition. Finally, to the class of 2023, congrats on your upcoming graduation. Thank you for giving me a small piece of your morning. I, like many of you, experienced MPA's impact as soon as I stepped on campus. Mr. Gerhazel's world history class, and especially the weekly current events quizzes, nurtured a love of politics and history that has guided me for the rest of my life. Acting in plays under the direction of Mrs. Currit honed my public speaking abilities, and even more importantly, taught me the importance of listening before speaking. Working as the manager of the baseball team under coaches Drown and Dro taught me so much about the game I love. When I combine that with the public speaking abilities honed with Mrs. Currit, put me on a path to be the radio voice of my college baseball team. Managing the baseball team also taught me how to react when the umpires get into a fist fight with each other after the game. If you want more details about that story, talk to Dro. I'm sure he'll be willing to share the details about it after you graduate. On a more practical level, the AP Math and Science classes I took here at MPA got me out of those requirements at undergrad at Davidson, which gave me time to focus on the important things, like going to all the home basketball games to see my classmate Steph Curry carve up our opponents on his way to becoming the greatest shooter of all time. Crucially, MPA also gave me an appreciation of the important role public service plays in our lives. Every day I'd walk into those doors in front of Alumni Hall under the words duty, honor, country. And I knew those words would guide me for years to come. In my sophomore year, I was lucky enough to interview a fellow alum, retired Colonel Richard Stillman from the class of 1934, on his experiences serving our country in World War II. He served as an aide to General George S. Patton as the Third Army broke through the Normandy beachhead and began its liberating dash across Europe. Speaking to him about his experiences at MPA and at the literal front lines of history stirred both a desire to serve our nation and immense gratitude for the service and sacrifice of MPA alumni who came before me. Walking in today, I was especially glad to see that the 2 trees in front of Alumni Hall I helped plant my senior year are continuing to grow strong and are providing lasting symbols of our gratitude for their service. But let's be honest, the things I remember most about MPA are the great times I spent with my friends and classmates. Some of the highlights included when, like an idiot, I gave my car keys to a fellow actor on stage as a tip. He then used said keys to move my car from Western to the parking lot. Naturally, when I got out of practice to go home, after rehearsal, I started freaking out about my missing car and how someone must have stolen it. After letting me panic for a while about my stolen car, he revealed the prank, and then I let loose a stream of expletives that would have made Samuel L. Jackson blush. We were less vulgar during senior week when we set up folding chairs, a Weber camping grill, and ran an extension cord from a classroom to a blender in the middle of Jones Bowl to make brats and smoothies while we watched the rest of the school go past us. And I cannot forget the trip to Cocoa Beach, Florida with the baseball team, where we trained in the same facility as Nolan Ryan and generally bonded in a way that you can only do while traveling together. And now that we've completed my stroll down memory lane, it's time to look forward to what comes next for you, the class of 2023. College is an incredible time to learn both about yourselves and the world around you, and I hope you take full advantage of it. The first thing you can do to maximize your upcoming college experience is to seek out discomfort and ideas that challenge your own. Too much of today's society is focused on finding echo chambers that only reinforce your pre-existing thoughts and biases. That's not a recipe for learning, and especially in college. Having your friends and classmates tell you how brilliant your ideas are will only ensure that you emerge from the cocoon of college into the real world and have a very rude awakening. The best way to strengthen your arguments is to hone them against someone who doesn't see things the way you do. You'll find holes in your arguments and your ways of thinking, and you'll be able to better defend your beliefs if you have to convince someone about the merits of your thinking. And who knows, you may just learn something along the way. The next thing to do to maximize your college experience is to lean into liberal education. As you think about what your major is going to be and its associated coursework, keep building off the foundation in liberal arts that MPA has given you. Even if you don't choose the liberal arts as a major, take as many liberal arts classes as you possibly can. Your ability to think critically, write well, and communicate your ideas will be exponentially enhanced, and those skills are transferable to whatever you do after college. I'm not where I am today because I am a human calculator. I've been able to be successful because I can take a new piece of information, distill it to its most important parts, and present those parts to the decision makers, along with multiple options for the way forward based on that information. I have my education at MPA and at Davidson to thank for that. Finally, and most importantly, be sure to enjoy yourselves. Life is all about balance, and figuring out that starts in college. There is plenty of time to study hard and have fun, so be sure to do both. The most enjoyable part of your lives is just around the corner, so be sure to take advantage of everything that college has to offer. You'll miss out on so much if you sequester yourself in a library studying all the time. But if you spend your college years passed out on a frat house couch, you're also missing out, all while lighting several $100,000 on fire. Finding the balance between those two extremes and your college experience will be truly fulfilling. Graduating from MPA and moving on to college puts you in the driver's seat for an exceptional life. Grab this opportunity and wring every ounce out of it, and never stop learning. I wish you all the best as you continue your journeys, and I can't wait to see what you all accomplish. I'd like to thank you all again for granting me a space in this small part of your graduating festivities. MPA has a 150-year legacy of molding the next generation of leaders, and you are now part of that legacy. Welcome to the MPA alumni family, and thank you again.
We have a couple of senior speeches coming up next. Our first will be from Andrew Cabrera.
Good morning. You know, last year when I was taking AP Chemistry, I dreamt of this moment. But I think I want to stay here for a little bit. 1 year ago, I stood in front of that table, under those two paintings of people I still do not know. And I said my 2022-2023 student council speech. I want to read my first sentence of that speech. It goes, look to your left and look to your right. Who do you see? Some would say friends, but I would go as far to say family. Throughout my campaign, I emphasized one point, home. Home is defined as a place where you come with family and loved ones. You might think it was just a campaigning strategy for you guys to get to vote for me, and it may have worked, but I was genuine. Over the last 15 years, the class of 2023 has not only built a family, but a home at Morgan Park Academy. And just like any home, it requires a strong foundation. That foundation started in 2007 when the elite pre-K3 lifers came to Morgan Park Academy. Eventually, the pre-K4 kindergartners and first grade lifers came to MPA. But it was then when the foundation to the home we know today started. An example of how strong our foundation is here is a time in fourth grade. I remember sitting down, screaming for my rights, crying for freedom, and yelling for lockers as Mrs. Shepard held back our grade into lower school. We were devastated. However, we moved. Slowly, we moved into middle school. We started adding the pavement to the driveway. We started building the walls to our home. We suffered through Mr. Peters' basketball conditioning and the countless talks from Mrs. Curry telling us to be kind and do our best. That leads us to August 2019. I still remember walking to the art center with my new backpack, my CompassCon t-shirt with a flower on it, scared. And I think I can speak for everybody in this room. They were scared as well. For me, the family and home I knew was disconnected. And for the new kids coming to MPA, it was a completely new home as well. But, just like any family and any home, we started to connect. We suffered through Chicago the Musical and the dreadful research paper and the horrible annotated bibliography Mrs. Fahey made us do. I do think there's one thing we suffered in our freshman year that takes the cake. COVID-19. Through our freshman year, we started to build the roof of our home. However, I would say COVID-19 was a hurricane that blew it up. Just like we couldn't see family and loved ones of our own, we couldn't see family here at MPA. We lost our first fourth quarter at MPA. our first project week, and most importantly, we lost our connections. Sure, we had cohort rooms and Zooms throughout our sophomore year, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't until our start of our junior year we truly started to rebuild. We started to put the roof back on the the place we used to call home. We started to man clubs, and we started to realize we make our home. We make the story, and we make the change. This brings us to senior year. We were finally done building the home. We added the last chair in the corner, the last painting to the wall. And we finally were able to cultivate the growth each and one of us needed. I mean, who knew Sherry was going to be a 5-time MVP athlete? Who knew Caleb, Makai, and I would start a bowling team? These things happen because of the family and home we know here. So, before I end this speech, I want to say thank you. Thank you to the teachers who cultivated the creation of this family and home for the last 15 years. Thank you to our own families and our own parents who sacrificed hours and time of their lives for us. Specifically, thank you Mama, Papa, and Ate for being the rocks in my life. My last thank you is in this letter. I thought thank you notes were due today, so I was up to 2 a.m. last night writing up my thank you notes, and I had one extra. It goes, "Dear family, thank you. You all have seen the highest points in my life and the lowest points in my life. However, no matter the event, you were all there to pick my head up and tell me it's okay. If that's not family, I don't know what is. Best, Andrew Cabrera." So, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to build this home with you guys. It's been a pleasure to build this family with you guys. And it will be a pleasure when I meet you guys someday. An interaction like that might occur like, "You're Caleb Bendelli with the new haircut?" Or, "You're Arnold Paluri, the Fortune 500 CEO?" However, the interaction will always feel like family. So, here we are today, eating breakfast, laughing, maybe even crying. In 2 weeks, we're going to shake Mr. DeHazel's hand, grab a diploma, and smile at the camera, maybe check some mug later. When you walk MPA's campus one last time, you're closing a door on a place you call home. However, you won't be locked out, because Morgan Park Academy will always be your home. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And our next speech is from Keone Green.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Keone Green, and my speech is about the different differences that make a memorable future for us. Before starting high school, I was an odd one out. I talked differently, looked slightly awkward, and acted abnormal compared to the rest of my middle school student body. And that unsteady growth, instead of seeing it for what it was, growth into my own skin, I shaped it into an insecurity that depended on people's opinions. That is, until I came to MPA. I was overwhelmed by the variety of people I met. There were so many types of people, I was more worried about standing out. I'm not gonna lie, y'all were very intimidating, a little too talented, very competitive in sports, academics, and socially. I was in over my head trying to figure out how to adapt to this new environment. It seemed like everybody had everything figured out, and I was gonna be alone yet again, trying to just make it to graduation. But instead of crashing and burning, my class picked me up and challenged me to see things differently. Everyone had things in the background to fight against. It was just a matter of taking it and making the good and focusing on what and when the challenges you prepare to become. Uncomfortable growth can be really hard sometimes, but I would soon discover the numerous ways that the good moments would outweigh the bad. I found it on my first day of volleyball practice, aka the first day of school, where Maya, Kennedy, Ori, and Olivia welcomed my clumsiness, even if it cost us 1 point, 3 points, or 5. I felt it at 11:10 a.m. when the packed lunch tables hosted across the table heated debates with Arnav and Andrew, Miles, and Christian, and smelled it on foodie days like Friendsgiving and international themed lunches. Man, I ate well. I heard it in high school events that encouraged us to attack each other with water balloons, bold colored powders, or snowballs. MPA was my place where I never feel isolated. I didn't want to be anywhere or with anyone else at the moment. These are the memories that I refer to as the good times. The good times where I felt comfortable in my academic standing, my extracurriculars, and my family and friends. Y'all shaped me into a warrior in only a couple months. And that's sweet and all, but as you know it, that was all about to change. As a newbie, I didn't know what to expect, but I especially didn't think that I would be familiarizing myself with my chosen family. I didn't know to cherish it all around me, but change is good, right? Okay, now it would be like the SpongeBob a few moments later slide. And boom, it was junior year. I'm super nervous, I can't speak right, and this is so awkward. I think we all can agree that the transition was hard to process. I know y'all remember that first homecoming after COVID. I vividly remember being trampled on the dance floor by a mosh pit of boys on every song. I'm looking at you, Christian. While we all relearned how to be social at school, I always could come back to the safe space of Ms. McAllister's advisory. I can't go without thanking teachers like Dr. Kickmall, Dr. Zhao, Miss Carey, Miss Drown, Miss CU, for pushing us into uncomfortable growth while keeping us on the steady path to graduation. Every step of the way, we stayed focused, but also found love in the little moments like Lonzo runs before play practice, races in Jones Bowl after dark, and project weeks all over the world. Now we are at the finish line. But no matter where our paths diverged, our classes through and through Chicago made. Our road was filled with potholes on top of unmarked speed bumps and black ice, but we made it. Throughout all the bickering in the backseat about who has the ox and all the screaming of "Are we there yet?" Honestly, I was scared for us for a minute, but we got out safe, and most importantly, together. Between all, nobody can say we didn't do it big. From the filling to the seats of the brim of the whiteout games, laughing with people, covered in Dawn soap at Academy Day, and leading the best student co-events we've had yet. Even the immature freshman activities, we did it together. We still have the best and worst yet to come, but I know I'll do it the greatest by y'all's side. Courtney, I know, but I couldn't just say goodbye yet. I love you guys and can't wait to see what you guys do next. Thank you.
All right, we do have a couple of awards to hand out. Mr. Sutton, would you please come forward? Your lifer certificate, first of all. So here's your lifer certificate. And also, the faculty voted you the We'll Never Forget Award winner. So, Mr. So I went ahead and gave that, once you stop by, I can give you a speech or later, so you can review it, give me any critiques you'd like on that. So you did get the We'll Never Forget Award from the faculty. And then also, do you want to say a few words yourself? But
Oh.
take them, oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. This is a little bit unexpected. I kind of came here, I listened to Keone's speech, was wonderful, by the way, so can we give a round of applause for Keone? So no, I didn't expect this, but I appreciate it, and to all the faculty, I will never forget you two. All of you are what made MPA so special, besides the students, of course, you all know that though. So I don't need to congratulate you guys again for that. So, thank you, I guess. Okay, take photos?
Oh, well, we gotta get a photo.